Yeah.
It's metal for the masses. The only place playing it harder, faster, and louder than anybody else. Speaking of harder, faster, louder than anybody else, it's the man, Darren Daneliuk. We talk about him a lot on this show whenever we play one of his tracks, but he's got a new one and he's here to talk about it. Smoking a stogie here, true fashion. Sir, how are you?
I'm getting by, my brother. How you doing, man?
I'm living life, bro. Living life, getting by, and well, I don't get high, so it's just getting by.
Each to their own.
Yes, sir.
Smoke yours
So,
for you.
say that again.
I'll smoke yours for you right here, man. I
There
got
you go, man. Always. Don't let it go to waste. Oh man, dude. So it's definitely been some time. I haven't had you on the show for I don't know if it's been a year. It's definitely been
you. Oh,
a minute.
it's been a long time. Yeah, it's
I know.
been a while.
It's we've been playing your tracks here on the show. I love Lest We Forget Has Been Forgotten. That is a great track. I remember talking to our mutual pal Josh over from the Obsidian Resurrection. He We were talking about something and I was like, dude, like I don't know what sound Darren has like discovered or rediscovered or like what he's done, but like it's night and day from like what I'm used to, and it's no, I don't mean that as like a as a dig at all. It's just when I first heard Lest We Forget and then what was it? I Died a Long Time Ago. It was just like, man, this is new Darren. Something happened. Something's going on. And now you got a new one. And I just listened to it before sitting down with you. And dude, I can't wait to talk about this. So,
Well,
how you been doing and fill us all in.
to answer well, not answer, but to discuss. I love the less we forget. Has been forgotten as well. I love the message behind it. That's what I'm most proud of for my end of that. Now, we talk about the different sounds. It is a bit different because the guitarist on that one is not me. That one was Mike Hines, the guy who was doing some of the solos that we had on the last album that he did, and he did some solos for us. So I tried to get him to write a bit more. Turns out, I'm not sure if he has the time for it now, or the technical capabilities, or whatever the reason is. He's just not able to fully commit to a bunch of material at the moment, which is a shame because I think he's a great player. But he knows he's welcome back at any time, and anytime that changes, he's always welcome back into the fold, and no questions asked. So I wish him well. I hope he's doing well. Him and his wife, and they just got married, and they had like a Viking wedding. So that's badass.
Congratulations. That
Viking
is
wedding,
badass.
and I dig Mike. I hope that someday he does want to come back and write some more. If not, that's all cool by me. I'm going to continue writing. David is going to continue writing. My producer, David Asher, is the gentleman, not only who makes me sound the way I do and produces the work that we do. My bass player. He does leads as well. And on this last particular song that you were mentioning, the Halo of Horns, he wrote that. So he wrote the lyrics for that and the music. And I've been encouraging him to contribute to the Cage in Your Head from, day one, like I've always said, if you ever want to write some music or you know what I mean, or contributes in a more of a creative way than just playing bass and soloing, by all means, please do, and he knows that. I'm
Right.
pretty open with that with anybody. Any one of my friends could come in. As a matter of fact, Jason Bellamy, the guy who wrote "Only One of Us Walks Away" for the closing track of the last one record, the Me, Myself, and Hyde. Um, we're already collaborating. Him and his girlfriend, as a matter of fact, Crystal. So we're already writing a tune, and it's turning out pretty cool. I like that the music behind it is vintage kind of Cage, but it's a combo of, like, he knows exactly what I'm going for. We have the kind of the same influences. Our time was 80s thrash, right? So there's always going to be that epic Metallica kind of vibe, or at least that's the watermark you aim for, right? You don't always attain those, but you got to aim high, right? Because if you're aiming low, you're just going to hit the dirt. So aim high, whether you hit it or not. In the end, man, I'm only doing this for me. I,
As you should.
I,
That's
yeah, I only write music for me. If I'm having a good time doing it, and if I'm writing something that expresses how I feel, makes me feel good, and I think it sounds good, then I'm ready to share it with the world. And I really don't give a damn if people hate it or if they like it. And in the end, it just feels good for me, and it's what's keeping me sane. You know what I mean? We talked about trying to
right.
keep sane in a crazy world. Well, that's what's keeping me sane right now is just kind of writing music that I would like to hear, vicious. And in terms of something change, you're right. I do want to kind of up the game a little bit in the viciousness and heaviness of what I'm doing. I want to reach the next plateau or next level. Um, like I said, I do most of the guitar work myself. I'm going to try to up that level as well, but I'm also willing to work with other people that want to come in and bring some stuff into whatever they want to bring in. Again, I'm already working with Jason and Crystal. David wrote this one, which I'm quite happy with as well. He wrote the lyrics for it. I filled in kind of the bridge part there. We're bound out to the devil. I mean, it is me we're talking about, so let's go. And I kind of added that part in, but for the most part, that's all David. It took us a while to write it. It took us a while because it wasn't me writing it, so it took me a while to kind of get into what we needed to do for that song, and then we did it. And he finished it, and he's just like, "Okay, I'm just gonna take a break from that song," and we left it for like a year.
Jesus.
And we forgot about it. I'm like, "Holy shit! What about that one we did?" He's like, "Ah, I got to do a bunch of work to it." I'm like, "Fuck, man. Just look at it because I thought you did a bunch to it, but we didn't really check it out." And he goes back, "Oh shit, it's done. Fuck, you're in for a treat. This is actually pretty good." And it's kind of the way it worked out. Because sometimes, I mean, David's not only just doing my stuff; he's a professional. He's doing other things too to pay the bills. So he does this when he can have time for it. You know what I mean? And sometimes with all the songs, I mean, I've got a million songs, so I'm always trying to throw him something, all right? And it gets overwhelming for him, I think. So,
Yeah, I
as
bet.
I can understand that.
That's awesome, man. I definitely, you know, I almost feel like I should have had David in this interview as well, just because you said he was the one that wrote this track. You just kind of filled in the necessary bits, you know what I mean?
No, it's
Um,
yeah, we could do that sometime. I'm not sure if he'd be up for that as much though. I don't know how much of a interview guy he really is, but I could definitely throw it his way and extend an offer. Whether he's comfortable with that, I can't speak for him. So, but
right.
he's
And
yeah,
I'm
he's got
just some prick on the internet. I'm not going to force anybody to come down and sit down and talk to me. I'm not that important. But
oh, he's in a wheelchair. He's not doesn't have any choice. We can just wheel him in.
oh,
I'm
gotcha.
joking. He would laugh at that.
So Halo of Thorns. I want to talk about that because one, as you said, you did a little bit of talking about it, what went into it. Uh, you mentioned the part at the bridge, bow down to the devil. This Halo of Thorns, what is it about? What does it tell? Like, what is it trying to convey? Because lest we forget has been forgotten. That's, you have to be completely illiterate to not know what that's, conveying just by listening to that song. And I love the thrashiness of that. I love how hard that song goes. It's actually if I had to tell you right now, Darren, what my favorite track that you've ever put out is, it's that one. Right now.
It did very
Um,
well. Yeah, it
it
did very well.
uh dude, I love that track. I really do. Because what shocked me the most is
Thank
because
you.
what shocked me the most about it is, normally I know that your sound is at least what I had, you know, come to be accustomed to was kind of a Alice Cooper inspired kind of sound. Uh and when Lest We Forget comes out, I'm like, all right, cool. Darren put out something new. Let me go check it out. Boom. And I'm like, oh my God, this is this is tough, you know,
Well,
because
there's always definitely that Alice influence, but it's certainly not the only one.
I
For as
know.
far as my vocals, definitely Alice for the slow, sinister parts, right? You know, where you just sort of speak.
Yep.
That works real well. I just love doing it because it's like an ode to the master. But also, yeah, I have to give. I mean, if you look, and now I might say this name, and it might send a light off, but Phil Anselmo.
Okay.
That's another one that had a massive influence on how I deliver. And you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that I think he's the greatest or even Alice is good. I think Alice is pretty damn good and Phil's pretty good, and especially in the early '90s when it was like Far Beyond Driven came out, went up to the number one, bro. The
Yeah.
by far the heaviest record, by far the heaviest record that ever went to number one, especially at that time. I mean, we were talking radio friendly shit on the radio all the time at that time. It was boring as shit. And then
Oh yeah.
Pantera came out with Far Beyond Driven, and that set a new standard for exactly how metal was to be delivered from then forth. And
Oh
the
yeah.
vocal delivery on that album from Phil, it's still it's still pretty badass even today. I revved it up a bit with a bit of Devin Townsend from Strapping Young Lad. You go into the album City, and there's another one that they did too called Alien, which is magnificent. But City for me hit home where I needed it to. I was desperate for something to connect to at that time, and an expression of rage that I had no other earthly idea could be expressed in that way. When I heard that album, it's just like that's me. That's how that's fucking me. That's how I feel. That's how angry I am. And that's the best way for me to express it was that album. And so there's going to be an ode to Devin Townsend as well there as well. And there's a combo, and they kind of come intermatch. You know, they come and they go here or there where they need to.
I
Um,
mean, you've definitely like all these inspirations for these tracks that like all the inspirations that make out your style. I mean, like you do a you know a wonderful blend of all of that, but still retaining like, your own identity in all of that, which that's art. You know what I mean? Like, you're not just taking the Mona Lisa and putting a spray tan on it. You're just like, no, here it is. This is the cage in your head. This is my
yeah,
own sound.
yeah. I mean, it's just really heavy aggressive music. You know what I mean? And you can call. I don't even know what category or what genre you want to call it. I really don't give a shit. It's dark
Right.
fucking music. It's dark and it's heavy, and that's all I care about. As long as it's heavy and it's aggressive, rip your face off, soundtrack to a fist fight, I'm good. I'm in. And I've had
Right.
some pretty cool collaborations with another dude on YouTube. You can check him out called Ed B Metal, and I did two with him, and he did the videos for. So he wrote the music, right, and he wrote the lyrics, and I just screamed them. But holy shit, like it was like a pleasure and an honor to be asked to sing and ruin those songs. Yes, fucking sir, I'm there.
Yes, sir.
And you know, and I will fuck that shit up, and fuck that up I did. And I think he was happy with it. I know he was happy with the first one that we did. It was a sort of a very easy thing. I didn't really know him well, and he's like kind of sends me an email message, you know, from a he was just a dude sort of from a website or a community, you know, that I didn't really know him, you know, and he's just like, hey, you know, I got this song and I'd be really honored or happy if you would like to sing on it. And I was recording an album, you know, I just doing my own thing, you know, I didn't really have much confidence to go running off and or have anybody even ask me to join any of their shit. So I'm like, but usually when someone asks me that, it's always like not good. Like it not always, but sometimes like they can like, oh, I got this really heavy song, and it's just like it's not
It's like, man,
this,
this is
no,
sane anger. Like, I'm not about this shit.
yeah. It's just it doesn't hit, it doesn't connect. You know what I mean? Of course, I never want to hurt anyone's feelings. I you know, I don't have time or whatever like that. I'm never gonna tell somebody something that's gonna bring them down if I can help,
Right.
unless you fucking, you know, deserve it. But of course, most people don't deserve that kind of treatment, especially coming to you and asking. So most of the time, I was always like wary of that, you know. And he comes up and he gives me a link to the music that he has, and the song is called Wreckage, basically destroying the world type of idea. And he did a whole video for it too, like a lyric video for it. So yes, you can even understand my screaming. You know what I mean? It's right there. Because a lot of people can't, and I get that because it's kind of aggressive vocals and it's not always easy to decipher. I try to be as concise and clear. I know a lot of vocalists like you're like what you're mumbling, man. Like it's not clear, and I try most of my stuff I think is, but I mean
I mean,
it
like, I would
depends on where
agree
you're
with you.
coming from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, like, you're not at like, Cookie Monster level.
I've been accused of that. I'm just like, do you?
And I
I'm like,
don't get
what?
it.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't get that.
I mean, like, I might have to like kind of maybe on like one or two occasions be like, wait a minute, go back. What did he say here? But
Yeah.
like it's still articulate. You can still understand, which is why another reason why I like your songs means like the cage in your head is heavy. Like what you mean, like rip your face off, soundtrack to a fist fight. But it's just like you know what they're saying. There's no there shouldn't be any misconceptions as to what the lyrics are. They're heavy, but you can still understand them, which is why I'm like, you're not at like death or black metal status of like, like like
It's
you're
very limiting that way. Like I agree with you as far as like that's very limiting stuff. I was friends with people in a band here in Winnipeg, and it was like it was like grindcore stuff, I guess you would call it, and it was all like low, like the bottom of the barrel low, which I'm impressed with vocally. I can't do that, but I don't want to stay. Even if I could, the whole song can't be in the key of. Bleh. I
yeah.
mean, you just, you know what? You lost me. And I love metal, but I will walk the fuck out if it's boring. And if it's trying to fit into something, you're trying to pigeonhole yourself. I got this really deep voice and I got to do it all the time. And the only thing I can do is the same syllable, the same cadence over and over again in every song to get that low, guttural thing going because I think that sounds cool. You're wasting my fucking time. I'm sorry, but that's boring. And so you can reach a low level. That's great. I love that. But that isn't the only level you need to reach. You got to kind of figure out some mid stuff, maybe a high note once in a while. I understand if you can't hit those because I can't always hit those either. But to stay in that low guttural thing to me, and I know some people will probably be pissed off for that, and that's fine. But to me, it's just boring. I need more out of a vocalist. I'm sorry, you know.
Yep. I
Um,
got that.
it just needs to be more interesting than the lowest of the low. So you sound like the devil. Wonderful. Let's raise it up a bit and change it up a bit and do something a bit different because that whole grindcore,
Grindcore.
like that whole. It's just they're all just trying to out low each other and wonderful. You do low, but if you can't put it into something that's a little bit more structured into something that can be delivered on a journey type of thing. If you're just stuck in third gear, fifth, sixth gear the whole time, you're just doing 220 beats per minute throughout the whole song. That's what okay, that's fine. But you're taking away from your own dynamics of what you do by keeping
Yeah.
it by doing stuff like that. I understand. I love fast stuff too. That's my favorite to record fast stuff and to scream and play guitar to it. But I'm not doing that every song. If you listen to all my albums, every song that comes next is different than the one preceding it. I'm not going to do two fast songs in a row. I won't do that. I need to
No.
change it up and I want to provide either a mid tempo or something opposite of what you just heard in the parameter of what I do. Obviously, I'm
Right.
not going to put a country song on there just to be different from the song before. I'm going to keep it into something that is you would expect from the cage in your head. It might be a trippy one the one I wrote about Ozzy Osbourne trying to kill Sharon with you know
Yeah.
we have decided it's time for you to die. That's going to be more of a mid-tempo Alice type of voice, you know what I mean? And then
Didn't I like a while ago? I forget what it was. I had like, dude, you should totally like do a cover of this. Uh, God, what the fuck was it? I feel like it was a Megadeth song that I was like, you should totally cover this.
Nah, I'm not much for covers. I did one cover, like that Free World cover, just because I could handle it. I could, like, as far as musically, unless somebody else wants to do the music, and I can just concentrate on the screaming, I'm good with that too.
Hell
But
yeah.
I don't know how to, go through. I just know how to create my own shit. I don't know how to, like, learn other people's songs to a T and to do it justice to the point where I feel good about it. You know what I mean? I would love to say that I could play this song and that song. I might have some of the capabilities of doing so. I just don't have the drive to sit there and try to learn note for note, even if it's easy. Free World, that song hits me deep in a deep way, and I was pretty familiar with the music behind it for whatever
Yeah.
reason. It was just something I jammed to when I first started playing guitar. So it was very familiar when I decided to do it. And the lyrics hit home for me. The You listen to the verse lyrics on that song, or just read the fucking lyrics. Everyone thinks that song's so yay, it's a party song, keep on rocking in the free world. It is not a party song.
Not at all. I believe we talked about that one before. But speaking of, I mean, I don't mean to cut you off of this train, but Halo of Thorns, uh, you have this track out. It's out now. By the time this airs, it had already have been out. It's been, you know, we're sitting here recording on the 9th. It's came out yesterday on
Yeah.
the 8th. Uh, so by the time this airs, I mean, like it'll have been out for a couple days. This track, we were talking in the beginning that your uh your boy Mr. Asher, he was the one that contributed the most to this. He wrote this uh and pretty much, you know, did I want to say 90% of the bulwark of the song.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's his song. It's
Yeah,
definitely from him, but
100%. But can you fill us in maybe a little bit more, like kind of do a deep dive on this track? What because you had mentioned in the beginning, bow down to the devil during the bridge. Love that. What is this track conveying? What is it about?
well, I don't know if I could speak for David on this, but we can kind of go into it here a little bit in the lyrics. So I believe it's kind of following an addictive, some sort of addiction going on. And you're allowing yourself to continue down that path, even though that you've been down this path so many. And this is the way it works with addiction, because I've had my share with gambling. You are familiar with the toxic path you're walking. It's very familiar. You've been here for a long time. You've been up and down this road, but you continue to walk it in hopes that you satisfy yourself. But the satisfaction that you're looking for never comes. There's a reason they say you're chasing the dragon, because
Right.
you will always look for that higher, that it'll never satisfy what you think it will. You think it's going to scratch an itch, it's only going to cause more of an itch. It's not going to scratch anything. It's what causes the itch. There's nothing what will scratch that. The only thing is you can do from that is to sever. Speaking from personal experience with my addiction, you sever that part of the brain. So I think what David's getting at, he knows what he's doing is wrong, whatever the person, the protagonist of the song is, but they continue to kind of feed into that addiction, feed into that vice. And it's a cycle, man. Until you break it, it's a never ending loop. And however you want to delay it, doesn't matter. If you don't do the work, it will continue.
Gotcha.
Definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That's what addiction is. It's exactly what it is. It's a form of it. Now, people think when you say insanity, they're running around with a spinny cap on and they got a bazooka and they're trying to snipe people with it or something. And that's not necessarily what we all have different forms of insanity. And with whether it's delusions or belief systems or right or wrong, and or faith into something that maybe we shouldn't, whether that be your government or a fake friend or whatever it is. We all have things that we believe that could be just holding us back for, you know, the idea behind the cage in your head is an exploration of that, right? The cage in your head is
Right.
kind of like the idea of holding yourself back from being bigger, better than what you are, what you believe you can be. So I think it's the same thing a little bit along those lines. You know what I mean? It ties in. That's when I read the lyrics. I'm like, yeah, this ties in.
Yeah, because what I mean, like I look at it like expecting more of like a because Crown of Thorns obviously has biblical connotations to
Sure,
it.
sure.
Uh,
And the specifics of that, I'll let him get to that. But yeah, it
at
does.
some point, yeah, I get it, but like at like first glance, I'm like Crown of Thorns. I mean, like going off of like what you're saying, like I, it's almost like you're wearing a crown of thorns. It's you're the king of like I don't know, you're the king of pain. You're the king of
Your
absolutely
own pain.
nothing. You know?
You're the king of your own pain and of your own salvation. So you got the crown of thorns, right? Which you
Yep.
put on Jesus, but you also have the halo of horns, which is like
Yep.
a halo, which is an angel, but it's horns. And who has horns? The devil. So it's a little bit of a mixture of if you look at people, we all think like, well, that person's bad, that person's good, and that's it. It's a write off of one or the other. It's never one or the other. We all have a lot of mixtures of both. You put us in the right situation, we'll be very capable of extreme severe violence. If you provoke us or put us into a corner in a situation where you invoke that, you'll get that. If you want to see extreme love and you put ourselves in a position maybe where we can help somebody in need, or one of us that we could help our family members in any way possible to comfort them in any way, we'll do so. That is just the opposite of that effect. But you know, you put us into a different environment, you're going to get a different result than if you poke the bear a few times. You're going to meet the devil. And
Yep. I I've been following a lot of more of like I want to say like philosophical kind of pages on Instagram, and every day, like, you're just getting bombarded with like philosophical quotes and like,
mm-hmm.
who said this and like something, kind of like men's mental health kind of stuff. And a
You
lot
and
of
me.
them, yeah, a lot of them really just kind of like tie into, you know, all like strive to be better if you're being, if like, if you are, if you're sitting in complacency, you're hurting yourself. If you are, you know, if I saw one where it kind of hit, a little hard with me. Like, anybody who's what is it? Anybody who is able to cut ties rather easily is actually experiencing a form of a defense mechanism towards past undealt with trauma. And I saw like one of those, like that one hit really hard because I'm like, wow, it's kind of what I'm able to do rather easily. What am I not dealing with? And it's why I love the band The Cage in Your Head, because it on its uh on its face, just the name alone, it's very psychological, it's very philosophical. You are the only one with the keys to get out of the cage in your head. You're the only one who's, keeping yourself in there. It's nothing else, you know. Uh, so you either are going to remain there, uh, and kind of be the instrument of your own destruction, or you are going to let yourself out and, you know, go down that road and see whatever that, kind of turns into. But Halo of Horns, I mean, like you know, the yin and the yang, you're capable of great good, you're capable of great evil. It's not so much situational as much as it is just you are choosing. Each person is capable of, you know, each person is capable of being literally Satan or being Jesus. Not like, I'm not to offend the Christians, like, no, not like actually be Jesus, but like,
No, no, no. I get what's exactly what you're saying. Look, I agree with that. You try to, in my philosophy, is very simple: lift people up wherever you can. It doesn't mean you have to go out and look for people. I'm saying in your daily travels and whatever you do, it's better to lift people up to be taller than to step on them so that you can be.
Right.
Because it doesn't work well. You will stumble and fall, and those very people you step on will grab your ankles and they will climb up. And now they have vicious intent, and you've given them every right to, and you deserve it. If you're stepping on people to feel tall, eventually they're going to drag you down. So if you're lifting people up, it's different, whole different experience, and it is self-serving because it does feel good for the person that is trying to help somebody. If you're trying to make this world a little bit better place than it was yesterday, I think we're on the right path in that way.
Absolutely. If you are, it's kind of what it's kind of what I try to convey to like a lot of artists, like a lot of just anybody doing like, music stuff in general. If you're out, if you are only into it to try to get paid, you're going about
You're in
this
the wrong business.
right. You're going about this completely wrong. Like,
Go join
uh,
Eminem. Go
yeah,
do go start rapping with Diddy.
exactly. Music is an art form, and that art that everybody makes. I mean, like I'm wearing the hat right now to one of my favorite bands, Harakiri for the Sky. Uh, there's been, you know, so many a dark time that I've gotten through just you know, listening to the melancholy of that band.
Yeah,
Just because it's like it's pain you understand.
yeah.
It's not like pain that's a friend. It's just pain that you have also come across and you understand. And
Somebody else through it too, right?
yep, and there's a camaraderie in that. And it's like you don't want to you don't want to have anybody else experience that again. So you kind of, like you say, you want to lift other people up. And that's a form of art right there, because that's abstract. You're looking at that song and like that's what you're getting out of it. It's making you feel a certain way. And I would say it's probably more prevalent in that, you know, like what you were saying earlier, everybody was trying to have the lowest tone, or every metalcore band sounds the fucking same. It's anything that's been corporatized, which has been a lot of the music scene, unfortunately.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
you get that, like I said earlier, just putting a spray tan on the Mona Lisa and saying it's an original art piece. It's like, no, that's
Just write music. If it's heavy, it's heavy. Like
exactly.
why do you need to fit into a specific subgenre in a genre of a subgenre? And you're gonna write the same song over and over again to appease the same people. Guess what? If you're writing for anybody else, it's impossible. So if
Yep.
you write shit that you're like, oh man, that fucking riff just rips the shit out of my throat. I can't wait to come up with a vocal line. Like it's fun. If it makes you feel like you can win a fight, what a glorious feeling. That is true strength. If it makes you feel like, and that doesn't have to be a physical fight, but it can give you strength to maybe win the mental ones that you're fighting too. If it makes you feel strong physically, carry that over mentally. You know what I mean? Like that's all this is about. It's just fun. It's just
Oh yeah.
it does it all. You write music that makes you feel good. It's because it's fun. It's just fun. So you keep having fun. You write some songs that you dig enough to share with your buddies, right? You know what I mean? And you put it online and it gets onto Spotify. Holy fuck, I'm on Spotify. What the fuck? That's fucking awesome, right? All right,
Listen,
I'm on Spotify.
listen,
I've got two
listen.
fucking
Congratulations, but I'll fist fight anybody that wants to
or
talk about.
whatever, or
Yeah,
Apple Music or whatever. It's just that right now. I mean, that's the beauty and it's the shitty thing. Here's the shitty thing of it. And people are not going to like this. People are going to maybe say I'm negative, but you want the fucking truth? I'm going to give you the truth. Music is worthless right now. It's absolutely dirt fucking worthless.
yep.
You do not live in a world that you once lived in where I would go to school wearing a t-shirt of the band that I love because I wasn't representing them. They were representing me. That was who I was. We weren't
Exactly.
representing bands. those bands were representing us. This is who the fuck I am. I'm a freak. I'm Alice Cooper that does not fucking fit in any genre. It does not work in this fucking school. I'm a teenage Frankenstein. I look like shit. That's what I look like, and that's what I am. It was a representation of me. In that character, there was a portion of me, and that was a determination to not let anybody push me around and be who I was gonna be, right? So nowadays, people are wearing t-shirts. Some hot chick will be wearing like a Rolling Stones t-shirt, and she's got the big lips and the tongue on there, and you go like, yeah, satisfaction. And she's like, what? And that's fine. But people don't give a shit about music.
Name 3 songs.
No, I don't even care about that. Hey, if you're as long as the band is getting the fucking money, because no one's buying the CDs, so I don't even care about that. If you're gonna support the band and just because you like the logo, I don't care. You know what? We bought albums based on that, so I'm not gonna shit too hard on anybody who does that. You go back on those first Iron Maiden albums; those are what drew you in. Holy fuck, Killers! He's standing there with a machete and some guy dying in front of him. I don't care what it is. That's going on the record player fucking now. There you go. There you go.
Dog,
And
I got all my favorite Eddies up my arm here. So I mean, I
so you
just,
know exactly what I'm talking about is that imagery. It's what it represents up inside of us, that fierceness. Not that we want to go murder people, but if
right.
someone's gonna fuck with us, well then you're gonna have to kill me because I'm not fucking the type of guy you take a prisoner. You don't take me alive. Kill me.
Exactly.
I'm not going down without a fight. So that's the idea for me, is that can, for anybody that's been picked on or bullied, that's the inspiration you need to stay alive. That's the
That's it.
inspiration you need to turn around. And so the guy's a bit bigger than you. You know what? He's not going to see it coming. Turn around and put your fist into his face. He'll never bug you again. He will always walk the other way because he didn't expect that, and he never wants to fuck with you again because he doesn't know what to expect from you. That word will spread and no one will fuck with you again. But if you don't do that, you're giving them permission to continue that behavior. That must be corrected. The teachers will not do that. The teachers correcting that will not stop it. That's a band-aid on a cancer. You got to go for the throat in that situation.
Yep. I agree. But before, this interview gets taken down for
Oh shit, yeah, probably.
oh man, before the YouTube Nazi comes after us, we don't condone violence of any nature. Well, we do condone self-defense, but and we do condone preemptive self-defense. Uh
I
uh
can do self-defense. Yeah, that's
yep.
all that's about. I never want to hurt anybody.
No.
It's
No,
always about protecting those I love or myself, but also not allowing myself to be victimized.
I appreciate that. I hear that a lot. I I definitely agree with like a lot of the stuff you're saying. Like music is definitely like, dirt cheap right now. I mean, like
Oh,
you look at things like Spotify. I've done
it
like
went.
I've done like episodes where it's like I'll go live and I get on the soapbox and then I look at
Yeah,
the time and I'm just like, wow, that's been the whole show. Sorry guys.
no,
Uh
I get you.
it's
It did when it became digital and everyone demanded it free. Well, you got it. Now it's all
you
free, and now it's all worthless. It's all the same, and
and
you got
it's
what you
the
wanted.
it's I don't know, like I get that, artists need a place to get their music out. I mean, other
There's
than
no other
Bandcamp,
choice at this
yeah,
point. It's the only evil to get your music out there. It's the only way to do it.
right. And
We have to
it's
figure out a way to make our music more at a higher quality than what they can stream it as. So
yeah,
something to make it more valuable that people want to buy it again. Don't ask me how. Somehow to make, like they tried that with what do you call those hologram things? I don't remember the NFTs.
I think so.
You know what I mean? They tried it with that. That didn't work. That's not going to sustain in the next. It's not valuable enough. I don't know what the solution is, but there has to be a way to make the individual product of each artist more valuable than you would get if you were to stream it on some streaming. So how do you do that? I don't know. I don't have that answer. I don't claim to have that answer. I wish I did. There might be down the road some sort of audio, but again, it's all pretty high quality right now anyways, so you know what I mean. Like there's variable differences, but it's all pretty much the same. And unless there's a
The biggest issue that I have with like a lot of the streaming services, and I've done an entire show where I kind of went through all the numbers. Like I put my business cap on and we went through all of like what each streaming platform is paying. And I was shocked to find out that Spotify was not at the lowest, even though Spotify is 0.0001 uh, per stream. So it's like you have three zeros in front of a one, and it's insane. But actually, YouTube was on the bottom. YouTube was
yeah.
actually paying the least, which I was surprised about that. I had always not liked Spotify, but I had always thought Spotify would be dead last just because Spotify, you know, while everybody, says exposure to me, I
Well,
don't know.
it's the only thing. I mean, if you want anybody to listen to your music, that's it. It ain't
It's
about making money anymore. None of this is about money.
no.
It never was for me, anyways. But now you
Well,
get
that's
to
the
the
thing.
opportunity for it, but
It
it's not.
shouldn't be. It shouldn't be about making money. But what I guess it sounds hypocritical to me. You know, if putting your music out, like, you shouldn't be putting out music with the sole expectation to make money because music is an art form. Now, do I think an artist deserves to get paid for their art? Yes. Do I think that 0.0001 is an acceptable wage per, I guess, per stream that is controlled by an algorithm so that they can fluff their numbers with bots and everything else? I mean, like, because that's the other big problem with a lot of these streaming platforms is the the ability for them to fluff up,
Oh, yeah.
anybody's numbers with bots. I mean, like it's all just controlled. So I mean, like,
That's why I don't give a shit about any of it anymore. I've given up.
right. It's just
Back
put out
back
your music and go from there. But I think there definitely needs to be some kind of reconciliation with, just what a not like I don't want to get on the, everybody deserves a livable wage, because that I'm not going down the communism route. Uh
No, I get. I understand what you're saying, but you're unfortunately with what's happening with music, it is so worthless right now. Unfortunately, unless you're Metallica and Taylor Swift, the inevitability of you breaking up is just shot up extra. So
yeah.
much. You're going to see a lot of bands breaking up in the next 2 to 3 years. Big bands that you thought would be around forever simply will not. The tensions will be too high. Everyone's got bills to pay. And if you're not paying those bills anymore with the music that you're making, that's a hard line for people
Yeah.
because you were making money at it and now you're not. And it's just like, well, it's almost out of even though you might love doing it, it's almost out of principle now. It's like, well, fuck you guys too, because back in
Yeah.
the '60s and stuff, like Woodstock and stuff, all started out being paid for tickets, right? Eventually, people ripped down the fences and just said, "Fuck you, we're coming in anyways." So this
Yep.
isn't a new phenomenon. This is the greediness of people. They've always wanted their concerts and their music for free. They never wanted to pay for it. And if you were ever doing art for somebody for like a wedding picture or something like that, you're a great fine artist. You're able to draw stuff with a pen and pencil. You'd be surprised how many of your friends will ask you to do something that would cost thousands and thousands of dollars, not because you're overcharging, because of the time it
Yep.
took you to learn the skills that you're going to be putting into the painting in which they asked you for, and they want it
Yep.
free. They want it as a wedding donation
The
because
homie
they do
hookup.
not respect the skill level of that person. They just want the end result. They don't care how you do it. Just give me the end result. And that is a societal thing. That is not just
Yep.
in music, that is in all art right now. And it's become a societal thing. People have been entitled.
Another another big problem that I've seen with the future of what the scene's going to look like is yeah, you have a lot of you have a lot of people not really making money. It's not lucrative. It's not even, it's not even smart to, even if you do have like the level of talent, you know what I mean? Like you could literally be the second coming of whoever,
and no
and
one would
just
care.
nobody would care just because of the absolute mind-boggling corporatization of everything. The the cheapened, the hollowed out everything, but also small venues are just falling by the wayside. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know if you saw a couple months ago, but we just lost the St. Vitus in New York. And St. Vitus Bar and Grill was, kind of like, I don't know if you are familiar with like CBGBs for like the punk scene back in the day.
Hmm.
Saint Vitus is kind of like that kind of a legacy, kind of small venue, and we just lost that. The New York Buildings Association shut it down like mid-show, just came in, kicked everybody out, shut it down, and the whole place went under. They told everybody they were going to open back up soon, and I guess something else
Yeah.
happened, but now it's gone. It's gone.
It's always
Gone.
about the mighty dollar now, and if it's not generating a ton of it, it's gone. No one will do it. And
Yep. And what makes it harder for any kind of like, you're in a different camp with what you do. I mean, like, and I give you so many props, being able to kind of, for the most part, I mean, like, I consider you a one-man band, but you're not a one-man band, if you know what I'm saying. You're able to do everything because you have the skill to do it. So you don't need to go out and tour. You don't need to go out and, play live. You don't, these kinds of things don't really affect you. You're
I
out
just have
here,
no interest in that stuff at all.
right. You're out here strictly for, I just want to put my music out. What I foresee and what I fear is bands that do want to go out and do those kinds of things, they're not going to have anywhere to go,
No.
because the only places that are going to be able to put on shows are big stadiums,
Yeah.
because those aren't going away. Those are the modern day coliseums. That's where the people go to drink and revel and watch, watch sport, watch the gladiators. And so these small time artists, the underground scene, the smaller guys, they're not going to have anywhere to go other than, back to basics. It's going to be garage band shows. It's going to be like, your local
Parties,
cafes.
backyard
It's going
parties.
backyard shows,
Yeah.
which I see it as, the death of all of these small venues, the hole in the wall venues, like all of these venues that are legacy venues. Um, I see that as a detriment, but I also see it as, if it's going to go this way, I can only hope that it's a back to basics, and that it's a back to the beginnings of, like we were just saying, garage shows, backyard parties, you know, just any small cafe, anything, just even just do
Make
like a pop-up, just do
make
pop-up
music
shows.
more valuable. I'm all for it.
Yep.
I'm all for the destruction of the corporate shit we have now, or the system we have set up. Tear it down. Government too. Yeah, let's get kicked off of YouTube for sure. You look, man. Like I just mean, like never mind. I just think that there's a lot that needs to be torn down in this world and rebuilt with
Yeah, I feel
integrity,
you.
with integrity, not the bottom dollar, not the bottom line on the bottom dollar, with integrity being the bottom line, with the benefit of those other than ourselves, the benefit of future generations, and the benefit of those that are still here to create and to hold the values of what once was. I think,
Yeah,
like
I
it's
feel that. I feel that a lot, and especially in today's day and age. I mean, like, you see the way the world's going right now. I mean, like, I don't know if we want to get too political here. This is, after all,
I'll
we're
keep
talking
it
about
vague.
music.
I'll keep it vague, but yeah, everything is dog shit and nothing is worth anything anymore and everything sucks.
Yep, that's it. Uh, I don't know. It definitely, the present looks bleak. You can only hope that the light at the end of the tunnel is
Is
uh is a what?
hopefully it's not a freight train.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully the light at the end of the tunnel isn't a freight train or Darth Vader's lightsaber. Hopefully it's, something positive at the end of the light. But Mr. Darren Daneliuk, sir, this has been a great, I'm just gonna call it a reunion because for the love of Christ, man, it has been way too fucking long not having you here on the show. It's definitely been a minute. And
Well, good to see you again there, man. As guys, as I just want to say one thing just to close off, as men in this world, man, we got to look out for each other, boy, because
yeah,
I will tell you something. Men do not get unconditional love. We are only loved in the condition that we provide something. So we need, as men, the only people who are going to help us are each other. So
yep.
if you see a fellow brother struggling, reach out a hand and help him up, because that same brother might be the same guy reaching out his hand for you a couple years down the road. We need to help each other up because society doesn't give a fuck about us.
Nope, that is true, my friend. And I think that's a great way to end off the show. My friends, thank you for tuning in to another fine edition of Metal for the Masses. Mr. Daniluk, you have a new track out. It's called Enlighten Us.
Halo of Horns.
Yep. And it's been out. It came out on the 8th. Today is this time of recording, it is the 9th. And by the time this comes out, it'll probably be a couple days after. But you can find it anywhere that that you can find
Streams.
music at.
Yeah.
But you got
I'm
anything coming down the line, sir? Anything that we can look forward to, or is
going to send you a couple demos if I haven't already. I got a couple here that I'm really excited about. I got a song called Acid Suicide that is probably the most vicious thing I've ever done. And every time I play it, it just feels fucking good.
gotcha? Well, can't wait for that. Hopefully, we can play it here on the show, but I don't know. That'll be up to you. So, everybody, if you liked it, subscribe to the channel, follow Metal for the Masses, follow The Cage in Your Head on social media. What is it? At The Cage in Your Head, right? On Instagram.
I'm basically just on Instagram now. I'm kind of social media has become far too much of a toxic propaganda,
It's a
propaganda
cesspool of
pushing,
bullshit.
manipulator for me, and I refuse to be manipulated any further. So
Yep.
I'm staying away from it at this point. But I'm on Instagram for however much longer. We'll see.
Well, we got to be able to find what's going on with the cage in your head, and I got to be able to contact you somehow, my friend, to have you here on Metal for the Masses. So hopefully you're still around for however much longer that might be. Hopefully it's for a while, because I don't know, man. If I can't go on to social media and find the cage in your head and hit up my boy Darren every once in a while, I
Well,
don't
you
know,
can always
man.
get hold of me. My friends can always find me. That's it, and that I'll never shy away from that. But from the rest of the world, I've got no use for you.
Absolutely. All righty. That is it for tonight's rendition, sir. You had some great parting words, but do you have anything else you want to tell the kids at home?
I wish you well, brother. Thank you for having me.
It's always an honor having you here on Metal for the Masses, my friend. Always an honor.